Hello Identity5 gamers! It is time to take a look at some of the latest buffs and nerfs that just got announced. I actually didn't see this at first. I was covering Matador and taking a look at his skills, then all of a sudden everybody in the comments was like, have you seen the latest buffs and nerfs? And I was like, oh cool, it's not like it's 3:30 a.m. or anything like that. I can't sleep anyway. So we're gonna take a look at these latest buffs and nerfs and see what the adjustments are going to bring to the game. All right, so these come from Mori_identity on Twitter.com. I did take a look at the test server itself, but they have not been displayed on the test server, so we can't really have any extremely good translation. So we're just gonna try our best here. You guys can correct me in the comments if there are some things that are a bit more clear later on. But first up, we're going to be seeing not Prospector, but Explorer. We got some Explorer adjustments here. Crouching and walking will no longer trigger the movement speed boost from the extrinsic trait competence accumulation. Okay, so when Explorer stands still for, I believe, 10 seconds, or when you're like picking up a page, he gets a movement speed, I want to say like a 10% movement speed, or like some form of movement speed for like 3 seconds or something like that. So now it's only going to start triggering when you run. So you can looks like you can walk or crawl to not trigger it, and then get the speed boost to trigger it whenever you want. If the hunter is pretty close by, I feel like that's going to be pretty decent. The movement speed increase gained upon activation of competence accumulation has been increased from 25 to 35. Okay, that's it right there. Yeah, it was 25% speed boost, now it's a 35% speed boost. It will now be possible to climb over boards and windows and perform rescues even while in the shrunken state. Now this seems really strong. The shrunken state will automatically be canceled after the action. That still seems really interesting though. Being able to vault, and not only that, but rescue. Rescue while you're tiny? Seems crazy, because if the hunter doesn't see that coming, like, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy. Then we have added UI display when dropping a page, which I guess is just like when you die or get put on a rescue, or sorry, a rocket chair, I should say. Sorry, it's like 4 in the morning, I'm tired. The decryption progress increase on successful calibration from the extrinsic trait Curiosity has been raised from 0.8 to 0.12. That is quite the decoding buff for Explorer. I mean, Explorer is already really, really good in this meta right now. He's very strong. I know he's like, a lot of people don't consider him to be strong, but he's played a lot in tournaments and he is quite good. And so being able to increase Cypher Rush on a character that already decodes quite fast. So let's say you get like 6, let's say you get like 5 to 6 calibrations per Cypher on average. Say maybe more, maybe less. But I think it's usually like around 5 to 6, maybe a few more. But if that's the case, you're gonna get 0.4 times 5. That's 2% faster decoding, like just straight up. Like that's pretty good, honestly. Like that's really not so bad at all for Explorer. So yeah, nice buffs for Explorer. Despite him already being good, I don't really know why we're buffing Explorer, but I guess it's fine. Another character I don't know why we're buffing is Perfumer. The duration of the damage immunity effect gained after returning by using Oblivion has been increased from 2.5 seconds to 3.3 seconds. So the little shield that Perfumer gets for 2.5 seconds when she goes back from her perfume, it is now 3.3 seconds. I think when they first invented the buff, it was 3.5. Then they reduced it to 2.5, and now it's 3.3. So they want to give her like at least a little bit more time to make it to like a pallet or a window or something like that, which I guess is fine. I don't really think she needs it, but whatever. We're also going to be seeing a Thief adjustment, not a buff, which is crazy to me because Thief is garbage. Thief is so trash. Like, I genuinely think I think he's genuinely, in my personal opinion, I think he is debatably the worst survivor in the game, even over Mind's Eye, and they're not buffing him. I think this character is like so bad. Adjusted the camera distance when using the flashlight to be farther away, which I can only assume is like your field of vision is now increased when using the flashlight, so that you can kind of maybe like see a little bit easier when you're moonwalking. So that's fine. As for Patient's already very good in the meta right now, and yet all of a sudden we, for some reason, are buffing him once again. We have improved the action speed when climbing over obstacles. That's when you're using the yellow hook when you vault over something. You're going to do it a little bit faster now. Shorten the time until transitioning to the jumping action after being pulled toward an obstacle. So basically the animation of the hook just is faster now. So that's cool. Why not, bro? Reduce the collision detection range during the activation of Hook Claw skill, making it less likely to get caught on obstacles. I can only assume this means like if you touch like the side of a rock or like the very edge of a freaking wall, that you won't get canceled anymore. Maybe like if it's you're very much so in the way, but if it's just like a little bit, probably not anymore, which is fine because that screwed me over so many times where there's just like a little pebble in front of you that you get caught on. that feels bad. I think this is an okay adjustment, honestly. This I'm fine with. As long as, like, it's not too lenient, I think it should be fine. Just make it so you don't get caught on, like, practically invisible objects or, like, really, really tiny ones that you can barely see. Then we see hunters will no longer be able to interrupt the patient's actions of being pulled toward obstacles or jumping actions, which I can only assume is like, maybe like Night Watch Wind or something like that. I'm not really sure what that would be because like you can't hit him out of it because he has armor now, but I can only assume maybe it's like Hermit Stun, and Stun, Night Watch Wind, something like that. So if he's like already in the hooking animation, he's just immune to anything that can interrupt him. So once again, I don't know why we're buffing Patient to make him so freaking good and that his hooks just have no counterplay, but sure, why not? At this point, they're gonna do it with Acrobat next. I mean, who knows, bro? Next up, we have some more Survivor adjustments here. Looks like we have a lot of nerfs and adjustments here, but we're gonna be seeing Cowboy Adjustment, which is optimize the hit detection for the lasso, making it easier to hit targets behind low obstacles, which I don't really play Cowboy too much, but you guys can maybe give me a bit more of advice on that. After hitting a survivor with the lasso, excluding those in balloon state and survivors on rocket chairs, so this is when a survivor is up and alive, and you're just giving them lasso support for distance, the duration of the speed boost effect is further increased by 1.5 seconds, and the stamina consumption is increased from 10% to 20%. So, if you grab a survivor who is kiting, that's about to like get hit by the hunter, you can save them, and you get an extra 1.5 second speed boost by lassoing them. However, it costs 10% more lasso, so it's a bit of a trade-off. This is an adjustment. So it's basically like you get more distance for more cost. So I think that's a fine adjustment. I don't play Cowboy enough to know how much is going to actually impact him, but right now Cowboy is not very good in the meta. He is also, especially in tournaments, he's not really played like at all. He's very, very bad in tournaments, so I don't know how much this will adjust him. The next two are a little surprising, honestly, but this is specifically because of China, and I'll talk about it after specifically the second character. We're going to be seeing some cheerleader adjustments here, though. First one is during the encouragement state. This is when she's cheering you, basically, when she's doing like the little beep beep cheers. The movement speed increase effect for the cheerleader and teammates has been reduced from 5% to 4%. So for those who don't know, you actually get a passive 5% movement speed bonus whenever you're cheering somebody. Both the cheerleader gets that and the person you're cheering for get that. They've reduced that from 5% to 4%. Not only that, though, there's a little thing called Little Jump. I don't know what that is, but we have acceleration duration of the speed boost, not the beep beep from the cheerleader, but the little speed boost that you give to people when you're cheering. That now lasts 1.3 seconds instead of 1.5, and then the deceleration effect, the little debuff afterwards, is also decreased as well by 0.1 seconds. So it basically just means like her support has gotten a little bit weaker in terms of the kite support. This one here is a really, really, really nice adjustment, especially for solo rankers. When using Rally or Inspire, this is the thing that resets cooldowns. By holding down, you can now check the cooldown of the main item held by teammates. This is going to be so helpful for cheerleader players in solo rank, because cheerleader is a character that is heavily comp dependent and heavily communication based. So it's really hard to use her in solo rank. I know she's a very popular character, but she's very hard to make work on certain teams. But this is going to be a great adjustment so that you can hold down your Inspire button whenever, you know, somebody's kiting and you see that they're like on a long cooldown, boop, just give them a little cheer, and that's perfect. It's really, really awesome that they're making this change. I really, really like that. Not gonna do much for tournament or anything like that, but for solo rankers, really gonna help out. Next, we're going to be seeing batter nerfs. And this kind of hurts because I've just been learning batter, and I swear, I don't know what it is. I just have a curse. Whenever I start learning a character, they get nerfed. It happened with Prospector, it happened with Sangria, it happened with Queen Bee, like it's happening with Batter. It's like almost every character. It happened with Meteorologist and Archer too. It's like every character that I pick up, except for Aeroplanist, for some reason, has been nerfed, it feels like. I don't know, maybe I should just keep my hands off some characters so they don't get nerfed. But Batter, his initial ball cooldown has been increased from 10 seconds to 14 seconds, and the Rage cooldown has been increased from 40 seconds to 55 seconds. So that is like where he's able to cancel his own cooldown and put it onto a make his ball instantly ready. This is going to really hurt Batter's harassment, and this is going to make Batter much worse. Batter is a very interesting character because, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, he can solo games. I say that because China loves harassment. China has been popping off with both Cheerleader and Batter, especially in rank. Batter is a rank god, bro. He can literally carry games on his back. It takes an insane amount of skill from the Batter, I will not lie. It quite literally takes so much skill by the Batter, but he can change games just by like harassing the entire game. Now they've made it very, very hard. China loves Batter. They love harassing with Batter. They cook with Batter so hard that they're nerfing him. Now, it's kind of sad because in my personal opinion, because of his difficulty, I really don't want to see him get nerfed because 14 seconds for his cooldown is like very strict when you can just break the ball. And then 55 seconds to reset rage is huge. A 15-second increase on a cooldown is massive, bro. Like, genuinely huge. That's what they did with Flywheel. And as you can already tell, Flywheel being increased by 15 seconds has quite literally done so much damage to so many games. Honestly, was it necessary? In the long run of the game, probably. Yes, Flywheel is broken. However, it still significantly impacted matches where I've watched matches and I was like, huh, if that was pre-nerf Flywheel, the Hunter would have lost, but now they tied instead because of Flywheel nerf. So stuff like that is really going to hurt Batter. Again, this character was absolutely nuts in China. China players absolutely just work and cook and absolutely dominate with him. It's just really sad because he's not really used that often in tournaments, and he's such a great character to showcase like complete mastery of harassment with, and it's really sad that they're nerfing him. I'm actually a little bit sad about this. I think a lot of Hunter players will be happy about this, and I personally don't like doing with Batter as a Hunter either, so there's a part of me that's also quite happy, but I think it's personally quite sad because of the nature of the character and how skill expressive that he is at such a high level. But yeah, I think maybe for the long run of the game, who knows? I do think these cooldowns are a bit strict. I could see 12 seconds and then maybe 45. That I think I'd be okay with, but 14 seconds and then 55 is just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Cheerleader ones I think are fine. And then as for Lanternist, she got a slap on the wrist. Duration for recording oneself is now 9 seconds instead of 10 seconds. I mean, it's a slap on the wrist. What can I say? Lanternist is still broken. This is not going to do much for her. It's going to make her slightly worse. Like, it's going to make her go from S tier to like S tier. Like, she's still S tier. I don't know what to say. This is a slap on the wrist nerf. Not much else to say about it. Next up, we got some adjustments for our Hunters, and I did proofread these because they're a bit confusing. And let me tell you right now, these are all buffs. One of them is a little interesting, but we'll get into that. First up, we have Soul Weaver. Time to climb over windows has been reduced from 2.81 seconds to 2.31 seconds. This is kind of huge because Soul Weaver has one of the slowest window vaulting animations in the entire game. You can speed it up, of course, with webs, but it was very, very slow. So windows really, really hurt Weaver. But now she vaults them 0.5 seconds faster. This is insane, in my opinion. This is a huge buff for Weaver because 0.5 seconds reduction, especially for like god windows, like on church and whatnot, that is huge. I'm sorry, that is huge. 0.5 seconds of distance is a lot of distance. Like that is a half a second. Like this game moves at such a fast pace that half a second is huge, bro. I don't care what people say. I think this is an absolutely really, really, really good buff for Soul Weaver. Does she need it? I think so. Soul Weaver actually has a pretty low win rate, I believe, in rank. And she's kind of just tie god, but her win rate is very, very low comparatively to a lot of other hunters. I guess she just doesn't have the resources to get wins, but she has really good resources for tying. But she struggles a lot getting wins from what I've seen from her statistics. So this is probably going to help her be a little bit more consistent with the windows. Now, of course, not all Weavers are going to be vaulting in the first place because they're just going to be like trying to go around and mind game. But if there's god windows, you know, she's not going to get as killed by them. So that's a huge adjustment. I don't think it should be 2.31. I think 2.51 would be fine for a 0.3 second increase, but I think this should be fine for Weaver in the long run. We're going to be seeing the cooldown for the spit, or the web shot, I should say. It goes from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. That's going to help her out in many different ways, just, you know, using her projectiles and using it for camp or whatnot, whatever else you have. Of course, it's still going to be costing something, but, you know, it's on a shorter cooldowns, which is going to help her out a little bit. Then the slowing effect from being entangled in the second layer spider web, that's if you have 2 webs on you, has been increased from 5% to 8%. So if you stack 2 webs on a survivor, they're going to be 3% slower, which is quite nice. That, I think, is a fine adjustment. I think that's perfectly fine. Next up, we're going to be seeing some Feaster adjustments here. First things first, we have a pallet breaking increase speed from 2.87 second space to 2.57 second space. This is a 0.3 second increase on pallet breaking speed for Feaster. This is going to help his pursuit a lot. And I think, honestly, with Feaster not being the strongest character, I think this is definitely a viable adjustment. Now, a 0.3 second increase is it's a lot. I mean, let's be real here. It is a lot. But I think Feaster kind of needs it. I'll be real with you. I think Feaster kind of needs it. He's not the best hunter. So I think this should be fine for Feaster. We're going to be seeing the movement speed reduction effect when selecting tentacles with a long press is reduced from 10% to 6%. This is just kind of like a small one. Most Feasters, I don't think, hold down their tentacle that much. Whenever you're holding your item as a Feaster, it looks like it was 10%. Now it's only going to be a 6% speed reductions. Now you're just a little bit faster, basically. Like Feaster just, when holding tentacle, a little bit faster when he's trying to catch up to you after breaking a pallet. Then we have optimized the tentacle selection judgment logic to make it easier to hit, which I don't know if that's like between 2 different tentacles that you're trying to select, or if it's like the tentacles are now easier to hit just in general and it's harder to like loop them in a circle. I don't really know what that means, but we'll probably see sometime soon. Next up, they finally did it, bro. After so long, they buffed Night Watch, bro. Now, I don't really know what this means because the translation is very, very awkward. But we have optimized the hitbox during the charge in Gale Long Range Assault to make it less likely to get caught on obstacles. This one, I'm not entirely sure what it means, but I can only assume it's the dash. Like when he does like the dash of first presence, when he like goes. So you won't get like caught on like side obstacles, I can only assume. Because a lot of times where you'd be dashing and then you get caught on the very edge of a wall, kind of like what I mentioned with Patient earlier. I'm assuming that's what that is. I don't think it's like the big wind suck, because survivors can get stuck on objects as well. Maybe it could be that. I don't know. It's definitely one of the 2, though. I'm pretty sure it's the dash, though. Not entirely sure, though. You guys can let me know. This next one is a little confusing as well. I'm not entirely sure what this means, but we have the maximum suction distance of the 0-stage wind field, which is, you know, low presence. The big slow wind that like pulls you back is increased by 10%. So I guess it's like the range of it has increased by 10%, not the power of it. Then we have initial wind power is strengthened, and the wind's power acceleration growth rate is reduced, but the maximum wind power remains unchanged. So I don't know what this means, but I have a theory. I don't know for sure. But when Night Watch uses a wind charge, he gets a 24% speed bonus when he uses it for about 5 seconds, but it like slowly decelerates. I'm wondering like if they meant to say deceleration from the wind thing, because it's like it slowly wears off, like the speed wears off. So I'm guessing it's like maybe it doesn't wear off anymore. I don't really know for sure. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what that second sentence means. This is one of the ones that really tripped me up. So if you guys want to help me out in the comments about that, I'll leave a pinned comment for any adjustments of translations or anything like that. If anything I was wrong about, go check the pinned comment. You'll see some more information on that. So I'm not entirely sure what that buff is for Night Watch, but hey, Night Watch buffs, bro. Night Watch buffs. What can I say? Oh my gosh. Next up, we have Hullabaloo, believe it or not, is getting buffed. Now, Hullabaloo, there's a lot of people said they gutted him. He's trash. I personally was not there. I still think Hullabaloo is a good character. I don't think he was nearly as dominant, but they gave him a nerf a while back where his double surprise was 15 seconds and they nerfed it to 18. Now they buffed it to 16. So a net going to 16 seconds instead of 15. So it's basically a 1 second cooldown adjustment as opposed to 3. Now this I think is fine for Hullabaloo. Again, the 18 seconds in my personal opinion, even for a strong hunter, was a bit much. So 16 seconds I think is going to be fine. And honestly, I think they can leave Hullabaloo untouched for a while because I feel like that cooldown right there, 16, is probably a bit of a happy medium. 18, a bit too much. 16, kind of that happy medium spot. Next up, we have some nerfs to Ivy and Cueist. We're going to be seeing after a survivor is eliminated or the gate is powered, the maximum existence time for erosion fragments is reduced to 60 seconds. and the indestructible time is shortened from 9 seconds to 6 seconds. This is fine. These are just the tablets. So I believe the tablets, or I guess I should say ostracons, when you possess a survivor, they're around, I think it's 150 seconds or something like that. I think it's 150 seconds that they stay on the map, just automatically without having to be broken. However, once a survivor dies, it's reduced to 60 seconds, which is kind of huge, but I guess it's also just because it's to reduce her map pressure and snowball potential as well. And then the indestructible time is shortened from 9 seconds to 6 seconds, which just gives survivors a little bit more time to work on the gates, basically. So now the Ivy has to be super optimal with her gate guarding. Next up, we're going to be seeing some Cueist Nerfs. Now, these are not that bad. One of them is, I think the first one is really not so bad. We're going to be seeing when a survivor is eliminated, specifically after a survivor is eliminated, the Cypher progress regression per blockade area has been reduced from 15% to 12%. And it's kind of funny because in my recent video, I said if they were going to nerf Cueist's built-in abnormal, they'd go from 15 to 12, not 15 to 10. And I was actually spot on that they did 15 to 12, but I was actually wrong about the fact that it has to have a survivor eliminated first. I thought it would just be base, where it's just base, now it's just going to be 12, but it's only after a survivor is eliminated, which I guess is fine, because it's 6% total less reduced for each time he sets up a contact point surround thingy, or the blockade area, whatever the game calls it. However, a 3v1 versus Cueist is still quite challenging, but I think they want to keep Cueist at least at a certain power level for Koa 9, because Cueist will be used quite a bit in Koa 9. He's kind of just going to be like an auto-tie character, and whichever side messes up first will win. Then we see if survivor is captured near a rocket chair where another survivor is seated, the time to move the survivor with the cue ball is shortened from 3 seconds to 1.2 seconds. So this is a very significant nerf to Cueist's camp. And this I think I kind of agree with, because if you ever got touched with the cue ball on the chair, it was quite literally almost a guaranteed after half unless the survivor was there extremely early. So now you can only walk for about 1.2 seconds, not 3. So this is gonna make it so Cueist with the warp trick, I believe the warp trick is now impossible if you wanted to try to use the warp on the ball. Again, that was very niche, and I don't think it really works too often. It was kind of using a trait when you didn't really even need to. But this is going to significantly hurt Cueist's camp. Is he still a good camping hunter? Yes, because he still can buy those few extra seconds, and he can still do the double hit strategy. But I think in general, not being able to move a survivor as far is probably for the better, because even then, like, you could still force out like 2 Merc elbow pads, or like an officer second or like third tuning, or force the Grave to like not have his super fast rescue speed. Like, it's still going to be a good camper. Like, it's just not as significant as he currently is. So I think this is not that big of a nerf to Cueist, because I still want to keep him, at his relative skill level for Koa is what my assumption is here. All right, finally, we just have some more general adjustments to the entire game itself. First up, we're going to be seeing optimized server-side adjustment for the Flywheel effect. Reduce the phenomenon where characters are pulled back to their original position upon effect expiration. This actually happened to me several times before. This was very, very annoying effect where sometimes you would use Flywheel, but then just get sucked back to where you were before the Flywheel. This felt bad because it would quite literally ruin kites just by existing, and it was a bug. For me, it happened most often with Lucino's Grand Slam, and I don't know why, but there are multiple instances, even in videos, I forget where one is, but there are multiple instances in videos that I've recorded where I've been Grand Slammed by a Lucino, I've Flywheeled it, and then it sucks me back towards him, so he just gets a free hit. It feels awful, dude. It really feels awful, because if I hit that Flywheel, it's a completely different match, but no, I got sucked back in. So they're gonna get rid of that bug, which is really nice, because it was a very frustrating bug to deal with, because there was no counterplay to it. It was literally just a bug. I really hope they get rid of the clown smiley face one as well, where with Prospector you can stun a clown out of dash, but it won't actually stun him. It will just like cancel the stun, then he'll just hit you. It's so stupid, bro. It's like you get punished for succeeding. It's really annoying. I hope they fix that bug eventually. We have added sound effects for successful rescues from the rocket chair. This is going to be quite nice for survivors as well, because there's a lot of time where I think like in a very tight situation, especially against a hunter that has like max berserker, where you want to get a rescue and then like use an item, or get a rescue and then run away as quickly as possible. Sometimes you'll accidentally 99 the chair. This has happened many a time in matches that I've seen. I've even done it myself before. But now with a successful rescue sound effect, that's going to kind of help you out to give you like a nice little like ding. which will be pretty nice. I don't know if the hunters will be able to hear it, though. Maybe only the survivors. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll have to see. Next up, we're going to be seeing an adjustment to rank matches, which will change the season inheritance rank for players at 7th, or I guess at peak tier 50 stars and above to Griffin 1. I'm pretty sure that's what this means. So whenever, for those who don't know, when you hit peak tier, when the season resets, you will go to Griffin 2. That happens to every player regardless of stars. But now, if you are 50 stars higher in peak tier, you will go to Griffin 1 as well. So that's something that's pretty cool. You get to start off a little bit higher than everybody else, which will be nice. Next, we have adjusted the inheritance ratio for character recognition points in the next season for some cases. So I'm guessing this is just like, you know, the higher up in the character knowledge points that you are in this season, the inheritance will be different depending on how high you are. I don't exactly know how this works, but I'm assuming it's like the higher tier you are, the less points you'll lose. The lower tier you are, the more points you'll lose. I can only assume. And then finally, in the early stages of next ranked season, reduce the rank difference during matchmaking for ranked matches at Griffin and above. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I guess it's just like you can now match with players that you couldn't before, because it's at 5th Dan, which means Griffin and above, I can only assume. I don't really know what that means, but currently the rank difference right now is 1 tier, or 25 stars. I don't know what they're going to be reducing it to, but I guess we'll have to see in the future. I'm not entirely sure what that will mean. But of course, if there are anything, or if there's anything that I got wrong or any adjustments or mistranslations, please sure to let me know in the comments. And again, in the pinned comment, I will correct anything that was mistranslated or that I misinterpreted. So make sure to take a look at that for any corrections. But let me know your thoughts on these buffs and nerfs, everybody. These are quite interesting, and it's all going to be, I think these are all going to be in Koa as well. So this is going to be quite interesting to see what our pro players will be cooking up with these buffs and nerfs. But I am off to go edit this up real quick and go to sleep because I am very tired. It is 4 a.m. and I need some sleep. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.